What's up, guys, and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like on the video. It would be greatly appreciated. In the last episode, we had our official grand opening of Toogii Land, where we still only have 3 slides, 3 diving boards, and just 1 single pool. But it's a big pool. Also, don't pay any attention to the failed lazy river in the background. I don't really want to talk about it. We'll deal with that some other time. But today is going to be all about building. I mentioned before that I have a very specific vision of how I want this main entrance to look. And in my mind, it kind of resembles a tiki bar mixed with like a hotel. I know that sounds kind of weird, but hopefully it'll all make sense at the end of the episode today. But before we even start building anything, I want to have a look through some of the resort blueprint buildings. That way we can kind of get the gears turning a little bit more. Quick side note, there is no longer a building tab. Everything that you need for building can be found under the scenery tab, where there's a new category for buildings. I was looking around for that sucker for like 10 minutes this morning and was not having a good time. So hopefully that'll help some of you guys out as well. But I'm gonna start grabbing some of these resort themed buildings and just getting them placed down. What I'd like to do is kind of inspect each one and figure out how the developers intended a lot of these scenery pieces and building pieces to be used. All right, let's start picking these things apart a little bit, respectfully, of course. Like I said, I just kind of want to figure out how the developers intended a lot of these things to be utilized. I'm noticing a lot of palms, some bamboo, a couple of ferns as well. I've got a sign here that says Gloopy. Whatever that is, I don't know. I'm here for it, though. That's cool, I guess. Is this one complete assembly? No, that's a shop fascia. Okay, and then we've got some bamboo trim up there at the top. This is a resort wall trim. Is this a complete assembly? It's not either. We've got more bamboo pillars that they've kind of configured into a pergola of sorts. Resort signposts up there at the top. I love, like, something I've noticed with these buildings is they're really pretty simple. It's all the smaller, fine details that make the buildings stand out. Like, all this thing really is 3 walls. And then the rest is all decorations. It's all solely decorative. Ooh, I really like that tie-dye surfboard right there, too. Okay, let's keep on trucking, though. That's just one building. So, something that's different between these two is this one looks like it's utilizing a stucco. Yeah, a plaster wall instead of the bamboo. We've still got some of those bamboo pillars or columns. This I like. Around the backside here, what's that? Resort wall trim. Okay. That's very tiki bar-esque, which is precisely the look that I'm kind of going for here. I like that building, though. That's pretty neat. Oh, that is so sick, dude. Hammerhead shark. Is that one complete assembly? No. Dude, the top and the bottom are separate. Okay. And he's got a little gold tooth in there, too. Amazing. Got some signage. That is also not a complete assembly. Dude, so much of these is just straight up custom. And, like, I would never think to do this type of stuff. Like the little decals on the side of the building. Even the rope lighting, too. Just looks so good. And then this one's using some, is that, oh, that's also resort wall. It looked almost like the Viking stuff a little bit. Not really sure what this building's meant to be, but it looks cool. I like it. We've got surfs, not like Surfs Up or anything, just surfs. It's another shop front facade type building. Like they got the AC units on the back too, dude. There's so much detail in these things. So much detail. I didn't even notice these. What are those, dolphins? Big dolphin balloons? If we were playing, yeah, they'd probably be blowing in the wind. This sign just says, hey, yo. I think that's just like sim speak for hi in this universe, in this realm. This sign says Hofo plus Gloopy. Interesting, interesting. Dude, this totally looks like a tiki bar. Okay, I'm really into that one. We've even got like a little chalkboard in here, teaching people how to make drinks. Little 3-tiered drink up there. Got some monstera plants on this one. Some boho-esque lamps. It's a resort ceiling lamp. How did they do these walls? So that's the resort wall trim. And then they've just separated them with some beams. Very creative. Very, very creative. Okay, again, I would have never thought to do it like that. So these two rows are very Tiki bar-esque, whereas these are more stereotypical resort, I would say. I think these are all supposed to resemble like hotels, even though unfortunately we don't have hotels in Planet Coaster 2. I'm not sure if that's going to be like a future DLC or a future edition or what they're going to do there. Maybe it won't even exist. I really don't even know. They've got an old Volkswagen dune buggy just chilling in the top of that building, dude. That is so dang cool. All these buildings, I mean, they're all so well done. So devs, hats off to you. Y'all really killed it on this stuff. So now that we've kind of had a look through of everything, I'm thinking we're gonna go with some bamboo walls for at least the lower portion. You know what? I'm just gonna start surrounding this with bamboo walls and we'll go from there. You know, on second thought, I'm actually really kind of digging the look of these walls. I don't even know what they're called. Wooden beam walls. They're perfect. And I don't necessarily think that the main floor of the main entrance needs to resemble a tiki bar. That's really what I wanted to do for the second floor. So a lot of these facilities down here are actually going to get moved up a floor. But I do still want to kind of enclose this staff path around the front side of the building. Because you don't want the guests, as soon as they exit the buses, you don't want the guests to be seeing your water filtration and your water pumps and your electrical boxes and stuff. That's a bad look. So I think if we kind of hide that away behind some walls, it'll look a lot better. And guests aren't going to go back here anyways. That's kind of the whole reason we have that staff path. So give me a few more minutes. I'm going to try to get creative here. I would say that this is more or less the layout that I was going for. However, we're kind of at a standstill. As good as the new path system is, and it's eons better than the original game, I still haven't been able to make a successful staircase, and that kind of scares me. So I'm going to mess around with the paths a little bit more. If I am successful, I'll show you guys exactly what I did to get there.
One eternity later.
My God, I've done it. And it only took me an extra 30 minutes to complete. Honestly, that's not too bad. I was expecting about an extra hour. So how did I do it? First of all, your height matters tremendously. I'm not talking about how tall you are. I'm talking about how tall your staircase is or can be. Honestly, it's a little difficult to explain, so I'm just going to show you guys instead. We're going to start with our stamp builder path tool. I'm just going to make a nice straight line right there. Now that we have that done, we're going to go back to the line builder tool. And then this is where we can start our staircase. So if you just tap U on your keyboard, like we did in the original Planet Coaster, it's of course going to bring a staircase up. But if it's highlighted in red here, that means it's too steep. So you want to hit J, bring it back down, and that should be the perfect height for your second story. You probably don't need to do it this exact way. That's just what worked for me, and it'll probably work for you too. There might even be an easier way to go about doing it. I just haven't figured it out yet. But I'm gonna get this all connected so we can finally move on. Now that we've got everything moved back in, I do think I'm gonna swap out these walls for the bamboo ones instead, because the shop fronts kind of clip through these, and I don't really feel like trying to come up with some creative solution to hide that. The bamboo walls hopefully should on their own. Hopefully. But for the second floor, I do think I'm going to try to replicate what the devs have here with the beams and the walls that aren't even walls. It's just a wall trim. I think it's going to look pretty dang good. The bamboo was definitely the right call here. I mean, the shops aren't clipping through the walls anymore. It just looks so much better overall. And I think I finally decided on what I want these walls to look like. So we have the lower portion here, and then this would be the second floor portion. Granted, I know we don't need a window on every single lower wall, but it's a lot easier if you do it this way, so we can kind of take this whole thing, duplicate it all around the entire building, and then wherever we don't want a window, we just delete the window there. Should be pretty easy, or so I hope. I did kind of forget about this part of it, so if we were to take this wall and duplicate it over and over and over again, you'll notice we have a bit of overlap with the columns. So to correct that, we've taken the same wall, but deleted the columns off the right side. So now if we duplicate this, we can just keep going to the left over and over and over again with no overlap. I want to see how the front of the building is looking before we continue on to the back. Delete those 2 windows there. I've already gone through and deleted a couple of windows off the front. That ain't too bad. Honestly, I mean, it is Tiki Bar meets hotel, which is precisely the look that I was going for. Something I think that we could change is maybe rotating every other column right here so that the pattern isn't identical all the way across the front and back for that matter. And then maybe with these columns, not have all of them be painted, because they can be unpainted. I guess technically they are still painted. It's just all brown instead of having the red, green, and yellow in there. That might not look terrible, but I'm gonna leave it like this for now, and we'll see what the back looks like.
1 hour later.
Holy cow, dude! This is a lot of work. I kind of forgot that the back side of the building had a lot of different shapes, right? It wasn't just flat walls. There were some doorways, there were some shop awnings, there were things like the staircase. That was actually the easiest one out of all of them. But I've finally finished creating all the custom walls that we needed for the backside. I'm working on completing the center section here, but I just had this sudden realization that we added 2 large staff resting facilities when we didn't need to do that. This other one should have been a mechanic workshop. So I'm gonna delete this guy and replace it with the right thing. Here we are, ladies and gents, the last wall, the last exterior wall. There are still a few places where we're probably gonna want some interior walls, like down this staff path, for example. It looks a little how you going in there. And we will need interior walls for the 2nd floor as well. But before we get to that, I want to make a slight change to the exterior on the super default looking walls like this one, right? The ones that don't have a window. So I'm just going to change this out for one of these. It's literally the same thing. It just has a slightly different pattern to it. But I think that's going to kind of help break things up, because it's a big building, dude. It is a big old building. So I'm just going to make that change to these other walls, and then we can start working on the 2nd floor. I don't want to think about a roof for this place, dude. It's probably going to be an absolute nightmare. I will say, though, these new tools make building so much easier. Look at how we're just able to automatically snap this little thing alongside the wall. And it works perfectly every time. We can, pick what height we want it at as well. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. I decided kind of last minute to add this interior railing just around the staircase. That way our guests don't, die. But it's time to move on to the interior walls now, specifically for the 2nd floor. And because they're going to be so different from the exterior walls, I'm actually going to duplicate both the changing room and the body dryer. That way we can make sure that they're perfect.
Moments later.
For me to say that I'm happy with the way that this turned out would be a massive, massive understatement, dude. I am beyond stoked with our first building in the new game. The only thing that we need to do now is, of course, a roof, which, yes, I am dreading, but hopefully it won't be too bad. And then I also think we should probably just delete all these flower columns. They're not doing it for me.
More moments later.
I wouldn't say that I'm super stoked with how the roof turned out, but it is kind of my own fault, right? I know better. I made the building 3 wide, and historically, it's very tricky to make a good-looking 3 wide roof. But on that note, unfortunately, that is where we're going to have to wind things down at for today. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.